He now makes insanely unique instruments, but 30 years ago he was making AI-powered music playing robots. How did this German inventor push the boundaries of technology, art, and music? What goes into crafting the instruments that fill our world with music?
And you covered the holes, man. You did. You got the low G there as well.
Welcome to The Instrument Makers, a new YouTube series where we visit diverse instrument workshops.
Oh, this blade's not very sharp. That's very annoying.
Explore the artistry and techniques of master craftsmen.
I'm going to credit this as David's upgrade.
And share the fascinating stories and insights we discover along the way.
Want to try it?
I'm in Hamburg, Germany to meet with Nicholas Baginski. He has an interesting journey which has given birth to instruments that challenge our understanding of what music can be. Join me as we discover how this pioneering German inventor has spent his life at an intersection of artificial intelligence, musical expression, and artistic vision, creating sounds that have never existed before.
We had, for a while, tourist boats coming in, and so they would stop in front of my window and tell ridiculous stories to the tourists, and it's kind of annoying after a while. My name is Nicholas Baginski. I'm sculptor, instrument builder, inventor, designer, whatever. And this is a very peculiar old building. I think it's from 1780 or something. It's very old. And we've been occupying this building for many years now, and it's just artists and musicians, and it's a good community.
How long have you been here for?
Over 30 years now.
Wow, 30 years.
Yeah.
Are you originally from Hamburg?
No, I'm from Munich.
You were from Munich, and what made you come to Hamburg?
The realization that there was no future for me in Munich when I was 18. So I packed my stuff and left, and ended up in Hamburg. Hamburg was good to me from the first moment.
Oh, that's very good.
I found a job, and a very exciting one. I began at the theater, building set design. It was just like a one-man's job, and I was the assistant for 3 months. And then my master got fired, and I had to take over after 3 months and build the sets and basically run the technical side of this small theater.
Oh, wow.
And it was very demanding, and I had to learn very fast and improvise, and that was a good school, yeah. I got fed up with theater pretty quickly. Because
we were just praising theater.
Yeah, well, it was an excellent school, but it's a very hierarchical structure. And you're kind of at the bottom end of the food chain if you're in the workshop. By accident, got into designing furniture and lamps, and did quite well. Had immediately got a very recognizable museum exhibition, and went to New York and did some interior design there for a while. Got fed up with having clients, and that made me venture into sculpture. And I was chiseling away for some years, and find out that although I really love it and I still do it, it's not my unique point somehow. And got excited by people like Tanguy and moving sculpture and kinetic sculpture and machinery, and got into that and built some. Well, it wasn't robots then, it was analog machines that would interpret music by their motions and with light, and worked with a composer who wrote music for that. And so slowly drifted into music, and after a while got really excited. That was late 80s. So computers were coming up, and I got really excited about computers and dug myself into that. And after a few years was able to play more creatively with computers, and started designing AI systems that would drive installations, artistic installations. And I mean, that was really early days, and there was nothing, no libraries, you had to do everything from scratch, buy a book, try to understand the formulas and turn them into code.
Yeah.
And it was a long way, but I managed to, I think in '92, I built a guitar robot that was AI controlled. And it's not like what we have today. I had a different approach that was completely open-ended. I didn't want to achieve a goal, I wanted to see what happens. So I designed an AI system that was not reward controlled, but it was just exploratory and exploring the acoustic world. And this guitar robot started to play strange, exciting, interesting things. So I ended up doing this for 15 years, and I traveled the world with this robot band, and they would learn and get better and sometimes blow concerts or performances and not play at all. And it was a very exciting period. And I had a whole band in the end, guitar, bass, drums, 2 singers. This is one of the old robots. This is one of the singers.
How does it get the vibrations for the vocal cords?
The vocal cords are down here, so the air pushes through the vocal cords. And
do you have any of the guitar robots around, or not?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The first fascination was chaos theory and self-organizing systems. So the first machines I built were kind of chaos theory experiments. Mm-hmm. And that self-organizing aspect drew me into neural networks, self-organizing neural networks. And that was the idea, to make a robot that really develops his own music. It's not driven by reward or punishment, but it's playing, it's listening, it's improvising and trying to figure out what's going on. And that works surprisingly well, because, I mean, that's the same thing humans did over the millennia, listening and figuring it out and discovering harmonics. And the same thing can be done by an artificial system.
You were doing things back then that people are only just beginning to talk about now with AI. It seems like you were way ahead of the game.
Yeah, that was the problem. Yeah. Nobody would have a clue what I was talking about in those days. Wow. And that would make it difficult, even within the artistic community, because I was the only one on that. The really exciting bit was, in those days, the scientific AI community was very open to influence from outside. Okay. So I was really welcomed into the scientific community and invited to scientific events to talk about my work, to perform the work. But it was also art, it was music, festivals, exhibitions. It was a wild mix. I had a very exciting flashback into the robotic world. I was invited to work on a video for a very well-known Hamburgian band called Deichkind, and it was really fun. They made a concept for a video that was based on Herbie Hancock's Rocket from 1982. The video was designed by a very dear friend and artist, Jim Whiting. He is into robotics and was the king of pneumatics in those days. So anyway, this video was reviving this Rocket video from '82, and I was able to sneak in, or not sneak in, but some of my old machines were in there. I did not only build musical robots, I also have this. Roberta, she was like the show host of a TV program for a while. in the 90s. And she performed in that video, and I reactivated some other old robots for that. So that was very exciting to get the old stuff running again.
Were you a musician? Did you have any music background before?
I've always been interested in music and started playing the guitar as a kid, and but lost track of it somehow and got through the robot instruments. I really got back into music. And when the whole robot thing was not sustainable anymore, I mean, a lot of things changed around 2000 when the internet became big, and suddenly all the festivals like Ars Electronica and stuff like this, and that ended pretty abruptly when internet invaded the arts. Only wanted internet art, and so I stopped. I think in the early 2000s. Well, it was kind of a crisis in the early 2000s, and I had to go on a job and kind of pay off the dues from the artistic life, and had to travel a lot on train, and got really bored on the train because very long train journeys, and that drove me to the ukulele and made me look for an instrument I can take with me and have fun with on the train. But since I didn't want to annoy the other travelers, I had the idea to build a silent ukulele for traveling. And that's how I got into building instruments. I was surprised how easy it was, because I mean I've been into precision mechanics for a very long time, in metal mostly, but once you've mastered that, it's easy to make instruments. It's not that difficult anymore. I mean, it's a different material. You have to learn about wood. I always loved to work with wood, but I never really did. And so venturing into the world of wood was extremely exciting. What's driving me to build instruments is because I want to have them, because I want to play them. Mm-hmm. That's the main reason. And if someone comes along and says, oh, wow, great, I want to have it, I'm happy. But it's a selfish enterprise. When I began building ukuleles, there were only, to my knowledge, only nylon string instruments. I got excited about building steel string ukuleles.
Can I try it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then you found, what type of strings are these?
It's pure nickel, and they have a round core. Usually steel strings have a hexagonal core. That makes it easier to wrap around, or makes it more stable, the wraparound wire.
This is fantastic craftsmanship for the wood.
This is made from a 250-year-old cupboard.
Wow. Oh, what is this? Oh, these are amps.
These are amps.
We can plug this in right now.
Yeah.
Where do you get bamboo in Germany?
There are places. It's tricky, but...
Oh, this is gorgeous. Why bamboo?
Because I love bamboo. It's just such a brilliant material. The structural properties are exciting, and it's light, and it's beautiful, and
it's very fun to play.
Yeah, it's a lovely little thing. Big inspiration at a point when I saw a video from Africa where someone just took a motor oil can and a piece of wood and some string. He, of course, played it lovely, nicely. Made this one.
Oh, wow.
And since not being a fan of fossil fuels really and automotive things, I concentrated on olive oil canisters. Nice thing is you get some good olive oil. They of course all sound different. This is much better actually.
And this one has a bridge over here. Oh, these knobs. Oh, that's gorgeous.
played.
So you made several of these canned
that's kind of
ukuleles.
my signature instrument. The olive oil can ukulele is I've been focusing on that. Ukuleles usually are very badly intonated,
Yeah.
and people
They're
live
very
with
cheap,
it.
Yeah.
And yeah, even the expensive ones. It's very hard to get a ukulele to play really in tune.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the short nylon strings that's just very imprecise, and so with steel strings you can build a much more precise instrument that intonates well. For example, this is an old German Framus. It was a very common instrument in Germany in the 50s and 60s, and I turned it into a tenor guitar. Exciting things.
Oh wow.
Obviously,
This is the one-string bass you're trying.
one-string bass
Yeah.
with some Andy Warhol attitude.
Ooh, that's fun. This is fun.
The tomato soup clock bass. It was a kitchen clock originally, and it's an experiment because I mean I have a rubber string.
Yeah.
And to pick it up, there's a magnetic pickup underneath the soundboard.
I see.
So I'm not picking up the string, I'm just picking up the soundboard with an electromagnetic string, and I have got a mechanical device here so I can move the pickup inside.
To where you want it to be.
So this changes the tone, and this is volume, but it's all mechanical.
Oh, I see how it affects the tone. Yeah.
I made several of these. That was the first prototype.
I see what you're doing here. Okay.
The extension of traveling ukulele experiments.
So how does?
They wrap around wheels down there, goes to the tuner.
Oh, I see. And this just helps
This
it.
wraps it around.
Oh, okay. I was confused because when I was turning
Yeah.
that was turning. I'm like, how did that happen? All right, I see.
That's a tapping ukulele. So you just tap this.
Ah, yeah.
But I have fretboards on both sides.
Oh, that's
So you can do very strange things if you sort of shorten this one. That scale, of course, changes. So you're totally leaving the tonal system.
yeah.
It just
so you-
turns everything
yeah,
on
to-
its head if you sort of have these three frets over here.
Not easy to play. You have to change how you
It's
play.
just intuitively.
Oh, that's
wild.
confusing. That's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, totally.
It adds a whole other layer of playing. You must know the instrument. It's one of my favorite instruments I have. It's called the harpeggi. It's like it's basically like it's basically.
I
one
know,
of these,
but
this-
like with 24 strings or something. Yeah.
Yes. This reminded me of it, but you take it in a different way.
Yeah, because I'm just leaving the territory by being able to shorten the strings
On that side.
on that side. You just go in completely uncharted territory.
There's things everywhere.
Everywhere. This is the shakuhachi.
Oh, that works very nicely.
Yeah. It's surprising. Yeah.
Okay. What do you have on this chair over here?
Yeah, let's venture into slide territory. A lap steel I made when I was on a residency in the United States. And it's a travel instrument. You can fold it in the middle. It's not very practical, I have to admit. But it folds. Take care that the strings don't come off. Just tie the strings down to the neck, and then you can fold it and travel with it.
Okay. Oh, that's such a nice sound.
Yeah, I love lap steel. I discovered these strings and loved them so much, so I figured I have to build an instrument for this. So the pickup is, the magnets are staggered, and well, the secret for a good pickup is to have a good balance, so no string sticks out. But since every string has a different thickness to it, they produce a different signal, so you have to stagger the magnets to balance that.
So
And
you're basically tuning these magnets.
yeah, there are some Asian instruments that are meant not to be played in public, but just for meditation or for pleasure, and not to perform, so they don't have to be very loud. And that kind of inspired me to this instrument. So this is just something to be played quietly in private, not to be performed.
That's a nice sound.
Yeah,
I love the bass quality of it.
I enjoy not being limited to a fretted instrument.
Gotcha. Oh, and you're making them out of plastic.
To make them from credit cards.
Oh, wow.
So these are wall-mounted duet instruments. It's always two instruments combined into one piece.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun.
The next one is you have this tiny canned instrument,
2 strings, yeah.
2-string, and a marimba. And this, the third one is, I'm very fascinated with Indian music. And this is my take on 2 instruments. First I have a tambura. And this is just one string of a sarod.
In Nicholas Baginski's workshop, we've seen how one artist's path wound from AI-powered robots to handcrafted instruments, each piece telling part of his fascinating story, and his work reminds us that innovation often comes not from following a straight line, but from allowing curiosity to guide the way. Visit his website to learn more about his instruments. My personal favorites are his line of these excellently crafted and tiny travel-sized ukuleles. Other favorites are his electric ukuleles and his olive can ukuleles. You can also check out some of his other creative works. Link is in the description. If you'd like to see more stories of remarkable instrument makers and their craft, subscribe and join us as we continue to explore instrument makers from around the world, discovering the people and passion behind the instruments that shape our musical landscape. Thank you for watching!